Good evening, living in Jacksonville, Florida. This is Greg DeTulio. Welcome to the channel. And tonight we've got a cool show set up for you. We're going to talk about market reports. I haven't done it in a little while, so it's about time. And I think it's a good week to visit a market report because it has certainly been an interesting week in real estate. We've been on a roller coaster of a ride just for I would say the last year or so. Every week has been different as far as the market. Lots of ups and downs, and we're still in a real estate market that is super hyper local focused. And I'm going to give you some examples about that tonight. So we're going to talk about where we are in the real estate market as a whole. We'll actually look at pricing as far as the difference price points, price per square foot. Again, because I'm in the Nocatee area here in St. Johns County, I'd like to use that as a benchmark because I do notice overall in St. Johns County, we've been seeing a shifting market from a seller's market to a buyer's market. That's why you're seeing a lot of new builder incentives, especially to buy down the rate. And Nocatee is no longer pervious to that. We're all based on supply and demand, and I'm seeing a lot more homes going on the market. So we're going to look at inventory supply, we're going to show how those numbers have gone up. We're going to show how days on market have gone up and how we're slowly shifting into a buyer's market. In most places, we've already hit that point, and now we are seeing it here in Nocatee as well. So I'm kind of going to show the numbers, a benchmark on that as well. I'm going to talk about the differences between the new sales market and new home sales market and the resale market. Again, I'm starting to see a lot more resales coming on the market. We just had a new launch of another community here in Nocatee, Reflections of Seabrook. Some of the pricing, I was a little surprised. I'm going to talk a little bit about that and how some people have pulled back on that development in building a new construction, even though it's one of the last phases here in Nocatee. So we're going to talk about a lot of things. We're going to talk about evaluations, appraisals, and talk about how important it is right now if you are listing your home, how important it is to list it with a real estate professional. Make sure your pricing is right because we're seeing days on market a lot higher. And when your home sits on the market longer, you're essentially devaluing the home. And unfortunately, there's other people in my profession that are hungry right now, and they'll take a listing at a higher price point knowing that they're going to be asking you for price reductions. And so I'm not a big fan of that because ultimately I think it devalues the home in the long term. And honestly, I don't have the time to take a listing and put it on the market for 120 days. I think it's unnecessary, and it essentially devalues the home. And I can attest to that because I've seen it happen in my own community. And I don't want to use a case-by-case study, but it's affecting me indirectly because it's ruining the comps in my neighborhood. If somebody takes a listing and lists it too high and it sits on the market too long, essentially the home ends up selling for a lot less than what it could have commanded if it was listed properly at the right price and sold at the right price. So yeah, I'm going to go into a lot of numbers tonight. I'm going to answer any questions that you may have about the market. If you're considering selling or buying, what's your feelings right now? A lot of people are very unsure. There's not a lot of clarity on the market. Rates are still high. We can touch up on that as well. We can talk about is it now a good time or not to buy? Those are all things we can talk about. So first off, while everybody's still logging on here tonight, if you want to go ahead and put in the comments where you're watching from, that'd be awesome. I'd love to know where y'all are watching from. We have people from all over the country, even some international. So, we've had a lot of people from the Northeast lately. So if you're watching from somewhere out of state or even local, go ahead and put it in the comments. I'd love to say hi. And again, if you have any questions about the market, new construction, specific areas or whatnot, please go ahead and put those questions and comments and I will address them for you. Here we go. There's my banner. Welcome where you're watching from. All right. So I'm going to give everybody another minute here to log on before I go running into graphs and numbers and everything. First thing I'm going to talk about is evaluations and appraisals. So before I get into the numbers our local National Realtor Association, before I get into MLS and start showing you numbers, I want you to understand that we have a big resale market, but also here in St. Johns County, particularly, we have a huge new construction market. In fact, we have so many master plan communities here in St. Johns County. I would say that in the next 5 to 10 years, we've got at least 15 to 20,000 homes coming. Just Silverleaf, for instance, has got 16,400 homes permitted, and they're only at what, 4,000. So just that master plan community alone has a solid 10,000 homes in the pipeline. So what that means is that when you have such a big new construction market, a lot of your new construction sales, some of them won't even make it to MLS. There's no need for it because you call me up and say, hey, Greg, I'm looking for a home. And I say, well, based on what your needs are, you still might be better off buying a new construction home, or you might be able to find a quick move-in home, which the builder built. It's called a spec home. And you might be able to get yourself some incentives. So depending on what route you go in, depending on the community of the house, determines whether you should buy new or you should check out a few resales. Now that we're seeing more inventory, it might make more sense to look at some resales as well. So I feel like we've gotten to a point now where at the peak of selling, seizing the list. We're in May, going into summer. School starts in August here. So a lot of folks want to be moved in their home by July. So really, if you're listing, this is the time you want to get up now. You should be listed by May and hopefully get your house closed and sold by July so that people can have their children enrolled or be established before the school year in August. Now, of course, that's based on the fact that St. Johns County is very family rich. So what my point was in all that is that not always all new construction homes go in MLS. So the data is somewhat accurate, but they're still missing a lot of data as far as the new construction homes that people built that were not entered in an MLS. So I'm dealing with a lot of people that are building homes right now in St. Johns County, and their homes will never make it to MLS. Some will, the builder may list some, but most of them will not make it to MLS. So the data is somewhat accurate. Now, another thing we need to talk about, and this is interesting because I literally had an appraiser calling me the other day on a home that my buyers had purchased specifically on new construction. And I'm not perfect either. It's really been hard to evaluate homes these days. So you really have to study the numbers because our market's been fluctuating so much. You really have to study the numbers of what homes are selling for, sold homes, not what active listings are, but what sold homes are. And then what makes it really difficult is then if there's new construction homes being sold in the same neighborhood, how do you evaluate your home? You really have to compare apples to apples. So I had an appraiser who does this for a living saying, hey, I'm trying to do comps and appraise a home in a neighborhood that you sold a house in. It was brand new. I can't get hold of the builder. Can you tell me what that house looked like? Because I'm having a hard time doing evaluations on it. Now, on a regular resale, it's pretty easy to figure out the comps based on other resales in the neighborhood. But then when you start comparing new construction, it's a whole nother ballgame, because if you've watched any of my videos previously, you would know that builders increase their prices increase based on sales every 4, 5, 6 homes. They increase the price very slow, a very low amount, whether it's the lot premium or they do it on the base price of the home, because you have multiple pricing when you're buying a new construction home. You have the lot premium, you have the structural costs then you have the base of the model that you choose, and then you have design. So there's a lot of different price points. So when people are trying to do comps in new construction, when you're purchasing floors, for example, with Toll Brothers, it's very expensive. There's a massive upcharge. That's where builders make their money. It's on the finishes of the home. They buy the lots from the developer, then they charge you for the structural, and then they make money in the design center. So everything is definitely got an upcharge on that, right? So that's where they make their money. And so when you're evaluating a home and doing comps for it against a new construction, every little aspect is really important. So the appraiser was asking me about the house so she could try to evaluate it. Why did it sell the amount? Why did it sell for the amount that it did? What did it have in it? And one of the big ticket items is flooring. So what kind of flooring did it have? Did it have quartz countertops? Did it have the upgraded kitchen with the double stack cabinets and the gourmet? Did it have stairs, for instance? If you don't want carpeted stairs, which most people don't, the wood stairs going up to the stairs, or open railings, standalone tubs in the master. All those things were things that she needed to know to properly evaluate that house. Because if you're purchasing a new construction house and you have all those features in the home, that really jacks the price up. So any of you know that just based on your experience purchasing new construction, that it is very, very, very expensive. Really quick, I'm just going to stop and pause. We've got Frederica watching from Austin, Texas. What's up from Austin, Texas, Frederica? I used to go to UT Hook'em Horns in Austin, Texas. I heard Austin, Texas market is really put on the brakes because there's so much new construction there. They're actually seeing a decrease in pricing in certain parts of Austin, Texas. So we're going to talk about people that bought in the peak and when that peak was. So if you bought in that price point, I've always said to people, if you're selling your home, make sure, if you're buying a home, make sure that in certain areas you're going to be there a while, because as I said, we're getting to a point now where if you're competing against new construction, you better be in the right location and you better not be moving anytime soon. And Austin is one of those places. Hello from Williamsburg, Virginia, John Albright. Hey, John, how are you? Thanks for joining me tonight. I appreciate that. So as I was saying, when you're buying new construction and you're looking at resales, it's really hard to evaluate a resale based on new construction. Another thing that's happening, and it happened to me here, is that a particular neighborhood that still has new construction basically doesn't have a lot of inventory, and it always comes into play. It's a supply and demand, right? And the price and the evaluation of a home is what someone is willing to pay. But at the same time, if most of your buyers out there, 80%, 90% of your buyers are not going to be cash buyers. So they're going to be using a lending institution and they're going to require an appraisal. So the numbers have to make sense on what you're purchasing for a home. So I was representing a buyer and they were buying a resale because there wasn't a lot of options as far as the lots and everything they wanted on a build. And they didn't want to wait the 9 to 12 months that it would take to build a home. And they really liked a resale. And so I was trying to evaluate, what is this home really worth? Because I felt like it was overpriced. And it was overpriced initially, and they reduced prices and we negotiated. But unless you really know that neighborhood really well, you've got to make sure the numbers make sense, and it's hard to evaluate. And the reason it's hard to evaluate because if you have no homes that are available in the resale market, and the only thing is available is new construction, and the new construction prices are increased, then people that are selling the home, if it's not too old and it's got all the features that it wants, they're saying to the buyer, hey, I want the same price that you would have to pay from the builder to build this home. And so that's a tough pill to swallow because the builder is always increasing prices over supply and demand. If they price too high, which I believe is happening in certain areas, even here in Nocatee, I think that the builders are basically, they cannot go down on their comps, especially on the future of the build of the community. They cannot go backwards in price, but what they can do is they can offer incentives, and there's different ways they do incentives. And the only reason they choose to do that is because they can't change the price. That would mess their comps up. But they can do on incentives that don't show on the comps. So what you don't see as a buyer when you're doing comps, like I'll go to a listing appointment like I am tomorrow, Mr. Seller's like, well, my neighbor got $656,000. And I said, well, yeah, you can see on realtor.com or Zillow that your neighbor got $650. But what you don't see is on MLS is that when the house closes, you don't see that the seller gave the buyer $13,000 in concessions. So what did that money get used for? It doesn't affect the comp, but the $13,000 was used to help the buyer with closing costs, various things. With the builder, the incentives are people are buying down the rate. They're paying for closing costs because when you buy new construction, your closing costs are always going to be higher than a resale. So when you're negotiating or you have a real estate professional negotiating on your behalf, there are different things that you can negotiate. If the builder is struggling to move a product, the most important time to negotiate with the builder is when they have a quick move in, a spec home that is actually done, because then it's like sitting there, they're paying for it, it's on their books. So those are the times where you can negotiate incentive monies, but you're not going to be able to affect the cost of the price of the house. So representing buyers that are buying resales in a community that has new construction, they're looking at what the sold comps are, but they don't see what the actual concessions are on the back end, which can add up to a lot. I mean, there's builders here in Nocatee and in other areas, Rivertown, other communities that I've dealt with, even recently. So, I'm not going to give them all up because I know which communities are trying to give out as many incentives to close out inventory and keep sales going. But I'm seeing incentives like $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. So much so that I have incentive programs that I can't contribute because a lender, you can only contribute so much money to a buyer that's purchasing a home. There's a percentage. So there's a lot of different variables that go here on determining where the deals are and how you can negotiate those deals. I mean, we're talking refrigerator, washer, dryers, fences, screened-in lanais, anything that would cost you money as a buyer, because a lot of these new construction homes don't have all those things. And that's another thing when you're evaluating a resale. People just don't understand, and sometimes I miss it, what the costs are that go into outfitting a home that's a couple years old here that someone built. They have to move because of relocation or whatnot. And people are going, why is the price so high? Well, screened-in lanai can cost anywhere from $7,000 to $14,000. Outdoor kitchens, $15,000. Water softeners, which you need here in North Florida, $2,000. Fans and lights, which you don't get in these new construction easily, $1,200 there. Shutters, blinds, plantation shutters. I have a listing now in Settlers Landing, and my sellers are selling at a bit of a loss because they outfitted the place with everything. Plantation shutters. They had retractable screen. They had the garage, the epoxy flooring. So many different add-ons after you move in that it all adds up. It's $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. So people may say, well, I can buy a new construction for $650 and you want $699. Well, no, the home was purchased at $700,000 plus, and you've got to look at the variables of where the lot is, location, and then also see what's actually in the house and what they spent on it and the condition of the home. So there's a lot of things that go into those evaluations. And even at times, I've had a hard time really truly evaluating specifically a home that is only 2-3 years old, and I'm competing or comparing it to what it costs for new construction. And as it is here in Nocatee, a lot of the communities are almost done. So supply is good now. There's some opportunities, but it's not going to last forever. We're coming towards the end here. This community specifically will be done in 2027. And of course, any land that's closer to the ocean, water, intercoastal will always present higher values than as if you were to go out west. So those are all the factors. And when buying a home, now same goes for while you're selling a home. It's super, super important that you have a true real estate professional that really is looking out for your best interest and telling you, okay, here's the way to go about listing this home. And I would say, depending on what your situation is and when you're trying to move out, or you need to get out quick, or you're in no rush at all, that's dependent on the listing price as well. But it's really key to get as close as you can to what the real market value of the home is and sell it sooner than later. Because as I show you on the numbers right now, that the days on market are continuing to go up and inventory has gone up drastically. So if you see inventory going drastically, it means there's more supply. And so with more supply, you're definitely going to see pricing plateau. And in some cases, you're going to see a lot of price reductions. So I think I've talked enough about that. You really have to be careful on making sure your home's list priced properly. And we're in a very hyper local market still. So what that means to me is, believe it or not, it sounds crazy, but it's a real example. Literally one community in Nocatee, which is 10,000 plus homes, there's 49 neighborhoods. One community's comps can be completely different than another community's comps. And I've experienced that specifically in the rest of Nocatee, going, why is this neighborhood so much higher? Because it's a very specialized neighborhood with certain features, lifestyle that it offers. It's completely different from the rest of Nocatee. It's very high demand. It still has some construction going on in there, but there's not a lot of opportunities. So, so hyper local that if you just did price per square foot, you would go, why is it so expensive in this particular neighborhood compared to the other one? And that's, if to make a good example of that, that would be like, for instance, River Landing, the waterfront properties. Why would people, or Coral Ridge, that have these massive lots, that are now in the, River Landing, Coral Ridge, you can see homes between 600, 800 square foot, prices we've never seen before. So yeah, there's so many variations of neighborhoods, and variables of the home and the location that makes a big difference. So we got Fletcher watching. What's up, Fletcher? Yep, like Crosswater, Coral Ridge, and Palm Crest. I've been talking about so many things so much. Crosswater, Coral Ridge, and Palm Crest. Yeah, I think he's saying that there's a lot of variations in pricing in there as well. And what I'm seeing in the new reflections of Seabrook, which is the second to last phase of building here in Nocatee, there's going to be, this is the last phase where you can buy and build on a 50 or 60 foot lot. They have a lot of 40-foot lots, but I was super shocked. The prices were higher. Most cases were higher than even Palm Crest, Seabrook Village. So the prices kept going up, even though we're at 7% interest rates. And we don't know where interest rates are going, but let me tell you this, and this is a fact. If interest rates go back down to 6, we're going to have a crazy market again. Right now, depending on the type of home, very specifically, we are in need of larger homes that have square footage and privacy, and you're not decked up right against your neighbor. Sorry, I was reading his comment and I lost my train of thought. Yeah, if you're looking for a larger home that's 4,000 square feet, that's not up against your neighbor, it has really nice lake to preserve views. We've still seen situations as maybe like a week or so ago, where there was multiple bids for that home because it was priced well, less than what it would cost to build in Coral Ridge. And they were unique properties that we don't have much inventory in, and we still seeing those go much faster. So even though rates are 7%, people are still buying particular properties. So pricing is still kind of bullish in certain areas in Nocatee, but I think we're going to see some changes in that. I'm really curious to see now that the builders have already launched fresh new product in Reflections, the 50 and 60 foot product. I certainly was fortunate enough to pick up a few lots for my customers that were those prime cul-de-sac lots. But once those are sold, how quickly is the rest of the community going to sell out? And of course, builders are smart. They didn't release all the best lots at once. So slowly they'll start releasing the remainder of the best lots. But I mean, we're talking, $1 million minimum for a 60-foot lot build now, which is, it's not cheap. It's 7% interest rates. So let's see here. Fletcher said Crosswater Homes using comps from Seabrook. Yeah, I see a lot of that, Fletcher. You're absolutely right. It's, again, hyper local market. When you start taking comps from another community and trying to price your house similar to new construction, it's not always a smart thing unless that house is a complete anomaly and it's what I call a unicorn lot on a cul-de-sac lot and a preserve, and the house is completely decked out with all the top finishes. There's exceptions, but it's very hard for you to just sit there and start pricing homes from different communities, even within a master plan community. It really has to be concentrated on sold comps. And then of course I'm kind of like biased, but some people are using what was the reproduction, what would it cost to build if it's still available to build in that neighborhood. People are basing their sale price based on that, even though it's not a new home. But again, there's exceptions to that if it's an anomaly. All right, so I've spent 27 minutes on that. Let's get to the numbers. Let's stop talking about that and let's get to the numbers. Here's the fun part for me. The MLS numbers. Let's see. Okay, so let me figure out how to share this properly. All right, so share screen, present. Okay, so this is just a snapshot of St. Johns County in general. This is for my people that, they just want the simple numbers, right? Get rid of this banner here. All right. So for St. Johns County overall, we're seeing a median sales price of $584,950. We're seeing it up, and this is April stats. May obviously didn't come out, so we're seeing the increase on that 5.8%. We're also seeing 502 units sold. That's an increase of 12.8%. And that is based on the fact that we have more inventory, so we're having more sales. Now check this number out. In St. Johns County, active inventory is up 73%, people. 73%, okay? So again, because it's hyper local, if you're selling your home, it is really important that you have a real estate professional that truly understands what's going on in your area, and if that you have a unicorn or not, that you can make sure that you're not overpricing yourself, because guess what? Days on market keeps going up a little bit. We're on 40 days on market. So I'm going to show you another graph how drastically that's changed. Okay. So we're seeing an increase of days on market 2.6, not terrible for St. Johns County. Again, look at this number, new listings. Excuse me. New listings are up 52%. 52%. Okay. Do you realize that means that everybody is coming out of the woodworks and seeing the writing on the wall right now, and they're unsure of a lot of things, and they're going, hey, I better listen now. We're going to make a move. These rates aren't changing. We need to downsize, upsize. Life happens, or I'm crushed, financially. I'm looking for a job. So, there is a lot of new listings coming to the market. So it's so important that you understand where you should be listed if you're going to enter the market. Got a comment here. Does that include new construction? John, if you're asking me if these numbers I'm talking about on here include new construction, as I said earlier on, a lot of comps in MLS, particularly builds that if you came to me and said, hey, I want to build a house in this neighborhood, and we go to the builder, we pick a lot, build a house, that most likely isn't going to go on the MLS. But if the builder built a spec or a quick move in, or they had a cancellation and they put it on MLS, because they usually put those on MLS, some of that will be subject to the data here. So in general, I'm going to say yes, but not all of the data is included on new construction, but a good portion of it is included in new construction. So I do a lot of new construction. It's one of my specialty. I'm a new construction specialist. And so you'll see, if you look at pendings, all my pendings, most of them are all new construction. These are homes that are not going to be ready for 6, 9, 8, 10 months. So all right, so let's look at some more stats. This is just general stats for my people that really like to geek out in numbers, hang out, or if you see this in recording. Let's get to that screen really quick. Let's see here. Okay, so let's see if this is sharing properly here on the screen. I believe it is. Okay, cool. All right, so here we go. Let's talk about these numbers. So this is St. Johns County overall, 13 months. So we've seen from April 2023 till now, we've seen, again, median sale price is 5.8%. Now it's 8.6% higher. We've seen it. Now we've seen closed sales go down 2% in March. So that's interesting to me because we have a lot more listings, but we're seeing a little less closed sales here in March. Kind of strange because we are in spring, but we'll see what the numbers look like next month if it keeps trending that way. Days on market, we're seeing 25% increase in days on market from last year this time. List price received has gone down a little bit. Closed over list price, okay, 9.8%. Last year we're seeing 18% over. Okay, that's interesting. Home affordability, it keeps going down 12%. So specifically in St. John's and even Nocatee, I'll show those numbers in a second to compare, because Nocatee's pretty much a benchmark. Since it's one of the most popular master plan communities, I like to compare the numbers here to the rest of St. Johns County. So home affordability in St. John's has gone down, certainly. It's getting more and more expensive. Sold price per square foot, even though we have high interest rates, we've been short on inventory, but it's going up. We're seeing prices still go up. Sold price per square foot, 6.7%. I think that's going to go down. I don't know, but I'm, again, if it doesn't go down, it's because people are taking advantage of incentives and buying down the rate. I mean, if you think about it, when you're buying a $600,000-$700,000 house and you're buying down, and the builder is giving you a fixed rate of say 5.5%, 5.75%. They're buying the rate down a point and a half, not just for 1 or 2 years. This is fixed for 30 years. That's costing the builder $25,000, $30,000, depending on the price of the home. So even though the home sold for $265 a square foot, you may not actually see that the builder had an incentive that went towards your buy down rate and your closing costs of $30,000, $50,000. They're only allowed to do an excess amount depending on the price of the home, but that won't show on the comps. So in reality, if you took that $30,000, $40,000 that buyer received, price per square foot really isn't a true $265. For all of you that, I hope you understand, I hope it's not too complicated, but what I'm saying is, even though it's sold for a sticker price, you don't know what the incentives or concessions were on the back end, unless you know that you found out that they bought down the rate, they got a fence, a fridge, or they got all their closing costs paid for, which can be anywhere between 15 and 20,000 based on the price of homes in here in St. Johns County. So that adds up to a lot of money for sure. We saw some really great deals in Rivertown with Mattamy Homes. Their year end was May. That's another thing you got to look at. What's the year end too? New pendings, they're down 9.9%. And I think the new pendings are down because you're starting to see a lot more homes in the market, and people are now saying, wait, maybe I should wait. Should I sit this out and wait some more? And I'll tell you why you should or shouldn't at the end of this year when I wrap this all up. It's 8:36. I'll be done at 9 here. But new listings are up 0.5%. From last year, they were up 52%. So we keep getting new listings up 992. And again, the new listings don't also include all the new sales inventory, all the new home inventory, all the new builds available, builds that you can build, specs, etc. It may include some of those specs, but most of them are not including all the new construction that's available as well. So that would definitely bump this number up as well. Active inventory, last year, this time we saw inventory go up 73%. That's because it was nothing. I'm going to show you a graph on what it looked like over the years, okay, and where people got caught overpaying. Active inventories up 5.8%. I think we're going to see more inventory here. I'm seeing it already. I'm getting a lot of calls for listings right now. And people's expectations really have to be justified on what they think their house is worth. People always think their house is worth more than it is. So I like to be very, very clear with people. Okay, so supply of inventory, 4 months. Okay. That's interesting to me. I'm definitely seeing more houses entering the market. I'm seeing more homes sitting. As you can see here, days on market's 40 days. So I'm definitely seeing more inventory. So they're saying 4 months, a balanced market in a shift. We'll start seeing that at 5 to 6 months. So, I kind of call this, are we in a buyer's market now? I think we're heading in that direction, people. If you look at the new construction incentives in some of the bigger communities, I do a lot of YouTube videos on community overviews, home tours and new construction. And, I'm getting a lot of calls like, hey, why don't you come check out our new product in this community? And it's like, okay, how do I feel about selling in that community? My buyer, I need to make sure I understand that they're going to be sitting in this house for at least 5, 6, 7 years, that they're not going in over their head purchasing a home. And this is where I'm going to get back to you, whether or not you should buy or not, because every situation is different. I've had talks with one of my preferred lenders, Brian at Ameris Bank, and he's like, every situation is different. That's why it's good to have a conversation with a real estate professional. Make sure they have a team of lenders that will assess your situation and say, hey guys, is this where you want to be? Because I'm starting to find that people are stretching too hard to get into a certain community, and it's not worth being financially stressed out for a home. It's not worth it. So people are ended up buying a smaller home than what they were intentionally doing. Some people are settling, which I don't think is healthy either. So there's a lot of different things to think about when we're just considering the market in general. All right, so let's do this. This is fun. I'm going to go ahead and switch this. So I've got St. Johns County, and now I'm going to go ahead and do. Let's do. All right, if anybody wants me to do a specific area, just let me know. But I'm going to do what I want to do right now, which is going to be fun for me. But I'm going to go ahead and do Nocatee numbers because I live here and I want to know what can I compare with. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay. If you're watching this, did you see what just happened with median sales price? What was it before? 600,000 in Nocatee. The median sales price went up to $821,000. See, this is what I was talking about earlier, right? I was saying earlier that I think the builders are gotten a little too aggressive on their pricing. So specifically here in Nocatee, now it is the last phase, it is a supply and demand, but man, $821,000 median sale price. It was up 9.9% last year. We were not slowing down here in Nocatee at all. And then now this year, it's gone up 5.8% median sale price. Closed sales, it was up 80% in 2023 this time of year. And that was just because we didn't have as much inventory before and our demand was so high. And now this year, we're up 8.8%. In Nocatee, we're seeing days on market have increased to 29.6%. It's 35 days on market. As you saw for St. Johns County, it's 40. I think here in Nocatee, we're going to start seeing that as well. We're going to start seeing 40 days on the market on average if the home is not priced properly. List price received, still pretty bullish at 99.9%. Closed over list price. Okay. So that's been lower now. People are not overpaying for homes. They're being very cautious and careful now because everybody's wondering what's going to happen with this election year. Home affordability, it's gone down. It went down 13%. It's gone down again to 6%. Of course it has, at $821,000. And people always ask me, what do you think about that? You live in Nocatee. What do you think about that? Is this going to be a major course correction and crash? My true feeling is that we're not going to see a major crash of any type in Nocatee. There's only so much land here, and we're at the end of development. Sure, we're going to have resales, but look what happened at Ponte Vedra Beach. I mean, I've looked at pricing over there because originally that's where we wanted to live. And, just a regular single family home is well over $1.5 million for a decent home and still may require updating. I think Nocatee, which is right west of that, it's the next thing over the Intercoastal. We're still close to the beach. It's a very special place. I just think long term, if we turn into California, which I've talked about in the past, I think that we're getting to the point where unless people really need to move or they're downsizing, cashing out and buying something smaller for cash, I think that there's only so much land here and all the developers bought it all. And there's only so much of this property. So I think as long as you're going to stay here for a while, and when I say a while, I say at least 3 to 5 years, you're going to be fine. And remember, I said earlier, if interest rates go below 7 to low 6s, like everybody's hoping in this election year, if they do go down to 6s, we're going to start seeing bidding wars again, and all these numbers are going to go crazy and wacko again. I think this is healthy. I think that it's great that our pricing levels out. It's great that we're seeing price decreases and people are coming down to earth. I think it's good that people are realizing that the new norm is at 7%. But if it goes down, we're going to see a massive need for housing again. There's still so many people waiting in the sidelines. I have so many people waiting in the sidelines to buy a home. We just do not have the supply. Now, if you go west in St. John's, that's different. But so there we go. Affordability, $324 a square foot here in Nocatee. I've seen that's average. I've seen homes in the $300 square foot. But I moved here 6 years ago, and $200 to $220 a square foot was normal. So now it's $320. Now we're seeing homes in Coral Ridge, River Landing. Now we're seeing $600, $800, just crazy price per square foot, because people are realizing how affordable it still is here in Northeast Florida compared to the rest of Florida. Everybody wants to move to Florida, but the rest of Florida has also gotten outrageously expensive. South Florida, forget it. I used to live down there. People are complaining all the time how outrageously expensive. Tampa, forget it. Gotten really, really expensive. Orlando, getting very, very expensive. So where's the next best thing? Also, home insurance. Again, I just think Jacksonville and Northeast Florida is insanely reasonable compared to these other areas. I actually think we're underpriced, and people are learning that. And people with money are coming here. And, it's unfortunate that those that can't afford it, but some people are cashing out and saying, hey, you know what? I'm going to Central Florida. I'm going to different parts of Florida that is not as crowded and is not near two major cities like Jacksonville and St. Augustine. So pendings are up 6.7%. That's again because we have more inventory. Look at this, new listings, up 10%. Last year was up 95%. That's just because we had no listings really here in Nocatee. It was really bad. And then now we're at 10%. I think that number is going to keep escalating. I'm seeing more listings coming up. Active inventory, our inventory last year was up 144%. This year we're seeing it up 11.9%. Again, we're going to see those numbers continue to go up. And then our supply here in Nocatee is 3.3 months. That's not really balanced yet. I think we need to see 5 or 6 months to see a balanced market. But again, this supply of inventory is not as accurate because there is a lot more of new construction that are not listed on MLS that is not included in these statistics. So these numbers may not be 100% accurate. I would say we're closer to more like 4 months supply of inventory if you include new construction. And that certainly changes things because, again, once you get to 5, 6 months, now we're heading into a buyer's market where people have more choices. So that's interesting. Let's go ahead for fun and just look at Ponte Vedra Beach. That's the crown jewel. Ponte Vedra Beach, Atlantic Beach, for sure are some really beautiful areas. So let's go Ponte Vedra Beach, Ponte Vedra Beach, Ponte Vedra Beach, Corona. Who doesn't want to live off Corona? Ponte Vedra. I'm not going to include South Ponte Vedra Beach. Well, maybe I will, even though those are really high-end real estate. We'll take out Nocatee. Let's see where our numbers. Okay, guys. So to my point earlier, for all you that are still hanging on here and realizing that I'm geeking out on real estate numbers, if you're enjoying this, please make sure you put in the comments. And if there's any other questions you have about the market, I will definitely pull up the stats. So please make sure you put those comments. But look at this. I mean, seriously. Median sales price, if we go over to Ponte Vedra Beach. Now, Nocatee's in Ponte Vedra. We're just west of Ponte Vedra Beach. Look at this. The median sales price goes up to $1,150,000. That's insane. So in St. Johns County overall, which Ponte Vedra Beach is in, the median sales price, I think, was at 600. I don't even remember. There's 3 slides behind. But now we went to Nocatee, which is in the 800 plus range. And now we're talking about median sales price in Ponte Vedra Beach is $1,150,000. Now realize, when I said to you, when people ask me, well, I'm worried if I buy in Nocatee that I will overpay and be, in trouble in a few years. Well, as long as you're going to be in that home for 3 to 5 years, I think you're going to be okay. And I think that those people that are waiting on the sidelines, I truly, truly believe that if you wait too long, this is what's going to happen to Nocatee. Because Ponte Vedra Beach is only going to get worse. They're selling homes on the beach there, $5, $10, $15 million. I've never seen that in this area. This is not South Florida, but it will become the next major hub here in Florida. It is not Tampa, but it is becoming the next best thing. So will it become Miami? Probably not. Will it become Palm Beach? I don't know. I don't think so. But we are a pretty amazing place for Florida, and everybody is still wanting to move to Florida. So 1.150. So I think in Nocatee, we're going to see prices pretty stable over the next few years. Sure, if you bought, and I'm going to show you where the market peaked and how it's gone down since then. If you were purchasing in one of those, you'll see in a moment why you feel like you do about your home's evaluation. But you shouldn't have any fear as long as you're staying in the home for the next year or two. And if the rates go down again, you're going to be fine. There's not going to be anything to worry about. Just move here for the right reasons why everybody else is moving here, and love it and enjoy it because it's amazing. So days on market, again, in Ponte Vedra Beach is 38 days, gone up a little bit to closer to that 40-day mark. And that's just because things are unaffordable. They're not the average price home for people spending $1,150,000 at 7% interest rates. So we're seeing days on market gone up 76%. List price received has gone down. Some people are unrealistic in their asking price. Closed over list price, 11.8%. That's interesting. Again, I think there's a lot of prized property in Ponte Vedra Beach, and so that's why you're seeing this massive number. Home affordability is 20. Not an affordable place to live. If you live in Ponte Vedra Beach, congratulations. You're very, very privileged, beautiful area. Love it. Sold price per square feet, It's $410 a square foot. That's probably pretty average. I'm sure that's a lot more anywhere near the beach. New pendings, not a lot of inventory there still. It's 32% new pendings. New listings also down 4.5%. Active inventory, it's up 6.7%. So that's not bad. And then the supply of inventory is three months, 3.4. And I would say the active inventory here is more accurate because you don't have as much new construction in Ponte Vedra Beach. So again, I don't want to ignore any other areas of Jacksonville. If you're watching and you want to know any of the other areas in Jacksonville, I'll certainly punch that in for you. Just make sure you put it in the comments so I can see it. All right, so let's talk more stats, right? Let's talk about, let's see, what does this say? Okay, so let's look at historic numbers here, okay? All right, what am I looking at here? So we're doing sold price per square foot over the years, okay? So I did all single family condo. Let's just do single family for the fun of it. We're gonna do St. Johns County all. Let's hide the filters. Let's look at what's happened with the numbers here. Okay, so if you bought a home in 2016 in St. Johns County, you would have paid somewhere around $130, $132 a square foot. 2016, folks, that's 8 years ago. It's not that long, okay? 2017, $139 a square foot. I moved here around 2017, 18, and I was PO'd because I just missed the boat in the house I bought. I was at 175 a foot, and people about a month or two before then had paid 150, and I was like, I'm in the business. Why am I overpaying? But again, I wasn't aware. I did have a lot of features in my new construction home that definitely increased that price per square foot. But this is where I got in, okay? So if everybody got in right around here, you're looking pretty right now, right? Okay, now we're going to 2019. It's going up to 153. 2020, 158. 2021, 184. Okay, so when did COVID happen, right? When did COVID happen? See if anybody's going to tell me when COVID. Anybody remember COVID? Anybody remember you pent up in your house because of COVID? Now, God knows wherever you were, some people worse than others. It wasn't as bad here, but look at our numbers drop when people started leaving other parts of the country for different reasons. 184, 236 in 2022. And then slowly, people that didn't make the move after COVID slowly are making the move. And now we're seeing prices go from 236 to 250. Okay. So just from 2020 to 2024, we've seen a jump from $158 a square foot to $250. That's almost $100 a square foot. Is that crazy or what? Okay, let's go ahead and nail it down just for fun again. I'm going to go ahead and let's take it all off. Start at Ponte Vedra Beach again, the most expensive real estate in St. Johns County, or some of the most expensive. Okay. All right. I know I'm geeking out. I'm not going to lie. I'm definitely geeking out here, but this is my jam. So I've got to show you what it looks like. All right. So if you're in Ponte Vedra Beach, you could buy a home in 2016 for $187 a foot. In 2017, about $200 a foot. In 2018, $207 a foot. So again, I was buying around $175 a foot. I was moving from South Florida, which was already expensive. Now it's absolutely insane. So I was like, hey, I came up here to save money. I don't know if I want to go to Ponte Vedra Beach and splurge, because even at $207 a foot in 2018, the homes are older in Ponte Vedra Beach. So I still had to shell out another $50,000 to $100,000 to renovate the house. So I was like, let's go learn more about Nocatee, which is just a little west of here, because I could get a home brand new for $175 a foot pretty loaded rather than paying $207 a foot over on the other side of the intercoastal and still have to shell out another $50,000 to $100,000 to renovate it. So again, in Ponte Vedra Beach, started climbing in 2019, 225, 236 in 2020. Then it hopped up to 279 in 2021. People are leaving, migrating to Florida for COVID. Boom. 2022, we're seeing it 383, 388 in 2023. And right now we're at 410 a foot. It's only going to get worse, people, because there's just builders bought up all the land there. They're tearing down old houses near the beach, and you're seeing multi-million-dollar homes just going on the market. Brand new construction, just tearing down homes. So, okay, let's go ahead and check out Nocatee. I'm getting out of time here. I didn't think that was going to happen, but let me go ahead and do this really quick. Let's select all. Let's go ahead to Nocatee, north and south. So 2007, did we do Nocatee already? 2007, we saw numbers go up. 2018 to 173, 2019, 177, 2020, 190. So from 2020 to 2024, we've seen homes in Nocatee go from 190 a square foot to 317. Again, over $100 a square foot from just 4 years ago. That's a steep climb for sure. So yeah, that's what it looks like for Nocatee. Let's go to St. Johns County. Show filters. Let's just do all of St. John's. Again, we're seeing $140 a square foot in 2018. That was about right, $150 a foot. And now we're seeing it $250 a foot. So again, another $100 a square foot overall just in St. Johns County. So yeah, these are the numbers, folks. This is where it's gone. Let me see, what have I not shown here? Yeah, so weekly trends, again, look how volatile the market has been just every month, okay? This shows me here that June of 2023, we had some really high numbers here as far as median sale price. This is the median, this is the midpoint value where the price for half of the closed sales is higher than half is a lower. So June 2023. And then now we're seeing it dipped in May. So yeah, we're seeing some of the median pricing dip overall for St. Johns County, I believe. So interesting numbers. I wanted to show where we're at. So I wanted to see if I could show. Right. Okay. So this shows me here in August of 2022. If you purchased a home in August of 2022, okay, and hang on with me here because we're wrapping this up, but this is what people want to know, because if you bought property, this is what people want to know. If you bought real estate, a new construction home in 2022, notice that there's a peak here, and then right afterwards we saw a dip in 2023, and we're slowly seeing a little bit of recovery, back up again, and then down again, and then now we're back up again. And I think this is going to trend a little bit down again based on our inventory levels going up and that we peaked in pricing. But to me, this shows me where the peak was, and that date lines up in 2022. So potentially, if you decided to build a home in 2021 and it got done here, as long as you locked in on those 2021 pricing, or if you purchased a home, if you purchased a new construction home in 2022, but it wasn't ready till later, 9 or 12 months, 2023, you may feel like, well, pricing kind of went down, and why are there so many incentives and whatnot? Is my home devalued? Well, I don't think so. I think it's equal to probably where you were if you purchased in 2022. But if you were to sell, then you would have your selling costs, your interest, your commissions, closing costs, and everything. So essentially, you would lose money if you're not in a unicorn of a home that's an anomaly unique property. So that's kind of where I feel like we peaked, somewhere around the 2022 mark of August. And I may not be, there's variables to all this. I may not be 100%. I'm just looking at the graphs. And again, this is not including all the new construction. So, this is the gist of it, though, folks. This is kind of to give you an idea of where we're at as far as the market right now. It's not easy to figure it out. It is new construction, but I think more so now than ever, I'm seeing more inventory come on the market than I've seen in a while. I'm seeing a ton of builder incentives. I'm seeing, just as of recently, on certain spec homes and quick move-ins, I'm seeing builders very anxious to make deals. I think it's good and healthy for buyers because we're contending with those high interest rates of 7%. I think it's super important that if you're selling your home, that you are pricing it properly and have a true real estate professional that has a plan and is telling you truthfully what the evaluation should be. And if you choose to list high because you have all the time of the day, go for it. Just remember that those kind of properties are going to sit on the market a little bit longer. I wouldn't be fearful. My advice is, if you're sitting on the sideline and you're saying, is now the time to buy or not? That depends on your situation. Only thing that really matters is that you're not extending yourself financially. You should be talking to a lender and saying, what is my affordability and what you're comfortable with, and not stretching it. If you feel like you're stretching it too much, then don't do it. Settle for a smaller home, in between home, and wait it out. But if you're saying, hey, I want to get into a particular neighborhood, I found the lot I want, I want the bill that I want, or I found a good deal on a resale that's a great lot and that makes me really happy. Don't be changing your mind on that because you're saying, I'm going to wait for interest rates to go down. No, please don't do that, for the love of God. I was talking to someone today, and a client, and they were having this conversation, he and his wife was saying, hey, maybe we should just wait till the rates go down. And he was like, no, I don't want to wait till the rates go down, because when the rates go down, I'll refinance if I can, or I'm going to buy now when everybody else is fearful. And when builders are giving me all these incentives, I might be able to buy now and have them buy down the rate to 5.75, because I don't know when we're going to see rates below 6%. Go against the grain of what everybody else is doing. If you need a home, if you're renting, if you need to downsize or upsize, and life is making you determine these decisions, don't wait. This is a great time to buy. It's a great time to buy if you can get a deal. If there's a lot of inventory in a particular neighborhood and it's not priced right and it's been sitting on the market for 45 days, go for it. What does it cost you to put an offer in where your agent or whoever says it's a low ball? Heck no. It's not a low ball. An offer is a good offer. It's been sitting on the market a long time and you have a good offer and you're pre-qualified. Now's a great time to buy. I got people buying in new construction and have 30-year fixed rates of 5.5%, 5.6%. And I know some of you are going, dude, 5.6 isn't great. Mine's 3%. Well, for these times, it's great. when you're sitting at 7.25, 5.5 is amazing. 6% is amazing. My first house, I paid 6.25% interest rate. So the moral of the story is, depending on your situation, find a real estate professional that's going to tell you the truth. I've told people this week, and if they're watching or if they watch the recording, they wanted to get into the new community or whatever, and they said, man, I feel like we're stretching ourselves too thin, and I don't think we're getting everything that we want from the builder, and I think we're going to wait till we get what we really want. And I was like, amen, don't stretch. Let's see what happens. Let's see if they pull some more incentives. Let's see what other lots get released. It's okay to wait in that situation. I don't want you to stretch yourself. You shouldn't stretch yourself. You want to sleep well at night. So I'm totally down for that. But if you're sitting on the sidelines and you're saying, hey, I'm totally able to, you built your house, or you bought a house in 2014 or 16 at 150 a foot, and you're going to get 250 a foot for it, and you're going to make money on it, and you're downsizing because you don't want the maintenance upkeep, you're letting the house go, and you can buy the other house cash and have no mortgage, by all golly, do it. This is the time to do it. If you can sell a house that you've been in a while and make a lot of money on it, and buy a new construction with incentives attached to it, and pay it off cash, then do it now, because these are the opportunity times where people are pushing. Some people are pulling back right now, and some people can't afford to buy right now. Their prices are too high and interest rates are too high. That's a double whammy. So your particular case is special. Talk to a real estate professional that has your best interest as a fiduciary responsibility to you, to take your best interest into consideration, not just a sale. Okay, evaluate your situation, refer you to a good lender that is not just a salesperson that's starving right now. There are so many real estate professionals, realtors, and brokers, real estate brokers, lenders that are starving right now. And so they just want to sell, and that's not good. That's a bad place to be. Okay. And it's a tough business. This whole, I'm going to end in this whole NAR thing that's going on, and nothing is going to change with the antitrust lawsuits with NAR. The only thing that's going to change is that you're going to get a document now, and this has already been happening in other states for a long time. In Pennsylvania, you're going to get a document from your real estate professional that's going to say, hey, this is the services I'm offering and promising to you. My fiduciary responsibility spelled out. This is what my value proposition is to you, and this is how I get paid, and this is what I charge. You're just going to have that outlined rather than just being stuck on MLS. And it's a very difficult business right now. And a true, real estate professional is busy, that's in the mix, doing deals every day. I think a lot of that business is going to go to the top people that are selling right now, and the ones that are not doing as much business, that are not in the mix. It's hard to do real estate sales if you're not doing transactions every week, every month, because every transaction is different and the market changes all the time. So it is imperative to get a good lender and a good real estate professional behind you, a good team. And then, of course, my name is Greg DeTullio. I specialize in new construction, but I do a lot of resales. And part of my services, including new construction, is having someone that specializes in design center visits to accompany you on your behalf. So not only do you have a real estate professional that represents you in your best interest with the builder, and the builder pays that commission, but then also I offer, out of my commission, I pay a design person to accompany you to design center to make sure that you're staying within your budget and making the right choices long-term for investment purposes and whatnot. And then also, of course, I'm always checking in on your properties. Have so many builds going on, and have so many relationships with the builders and the construction managers that can check in on the site for you and send you updates regularly, especially if you're out of state. And there's a lot of value in that. I do a lot of video privately for all my people building, so that I can see them when they're constantly rewatching every video of their build process, and they're catching things that I don't even see because they're watching the video over and over again. And wait a minute, is that supposed to be that way? Is that one of our structural options? So there's a lot of benefit on that. And anybody will tell you, they always say, well, what's the best builder? I said, every builder is different. Every builder has their pros and cons. There's no perfect builder. Construction's a messy business. So you want to have a good team of people for every part of the process. And if you see anybody complaining or giving negative feedback about a particular builder, I will tell you that those people probably didn't have good representation. They didn't have a good team behind them, meaning they didn't have a good real estate professional who was really watching out for the best interest. They didn't end up with the right salesperson for the builder. If you walk into a sales office, you're in round robin system. Whoever's working that day and you come in the door and they get you written down, they get your name down, you are stuck with that salesperson. And sorry, not just like real estate professionals, they're not created equal. Neither are the builders reps either. So you want to have a real estate professional as your advocate on your behalf. And you want to make sure you're working with the right salesperson at the builder. Okay. And then of course you want to have a good lender with you as well to advise you properly that has your best interest. And then finally, of course, having the design center specialist to represent you as well, to have another set of eyes on things. And that's the way that you get through this process unscathed. People that complain about the miserable experience, they didn't have that team effort. And like I said, I'm not taking all credit saying, hey, I'm the one that's going to guarantee that your build's going to be amazing. No, I'm going to try to make sure that the problems that come up, that we can remediate them and work them out and make this a smoother transaction. And I'm not the only eyes on it. I rely on my team as well and my relationships with everybody. So that's everything for tonight. I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for all of you that watched it. If you're watching this recording, you can put comments in here. I try to get to all my comments and answer them. Of course, if you're thinking about moving the area or thinking about selling, go ahead and look in the description. I will be including my my number, my email, and you can text me, email me, call me. If I don't answer, I usually answer all my texts by the end of the day. Once you're working with me, you know, once you're in my inner circle, it's great. I don't work with everybody. I do screen people. You will get questions from me to make sure that we're a right fit and that we're on the same page. Because, you know, sometimes you may not like me. I'm very direct. I'm very straightforward. Not everybody loves that. So, so unfortunately, I'm Italian, Irish, Scottish, bad mix, one of four boys, tell it how it is kind of thing. So not everybody loves that, but once we build that relationship together and we work together, I try to make it fun and make sure that your best interest is taken care of. So really quick, Frederica, thank you. You're welcome. Absolutely. Thank you for joining us tonight. Appreciate it. Fletcher McWhite, thank you. Thanks for coming on again. I really appreciate you guys watching. And until next week, have a great holiday weekend, and we'll see you next week. Cheers.